Hugh? You're on mute.
Of course, we always start off like that, don't we? Welcome everybody to the fourth of our Safety 7 meetings, and this one we're doing as an open forum. It's actually 3 months to the day since we started as a group, following on from an idea that Neil had a little while ago about giving back to the profession. Which we're all passionate about. We're all mid-career, sometimes like me, semi-retired part of our careers, and we all wanted to give something back to those who are starting out or who have questions about, things that are coming up that we've done in our past meetings and things that we're going to be doing in our future meetings. So welcome everybody, glad to have you along. I've had some ideas how this is going to run. What we're going to do is people are going to be asking questions, and we're going to have a raising of hands. Now, that goes both ways. So if you want to ask a question, by all means raise your hand. But as we had in previous sessions, make sure that once we've answered that question, will you take your hand down, because we've had 1 or 2 legacy hands in the past. Once you've asked your question, I will then pass that on to the Safety 7 or the Safety 6 tonight. Unfortunately, Katie's not been so well. I'm not sure it's COVID, but she's just feeling a bit under the weather. And but I'm pretty sure she'll be back, and she's supporting us in the background anyway. So like I said, you put your hand up, we'll answer. We'll come to you, as fast as I can get around to everybody. It's going to be learning as we're going along. First time we've ever done this, so we'll see how this goes. But I've done similar things in the past for a couple of my other groups. We're going to start off quickly with a round robin of the Safety 6 of us tonight. Just a bit of a background of who we are, what we do. And if that's okay with everybody else, I'll kick off. I'm Stuart Bailey, grad IOSH, been in building services for 32 years. In all levels, whether I was a company secretary, whether I was the guy driving the stuff to site, whether I was the one picking it, whether I was the fire marshal going around and making sure everybody was okay, checking fire doors, you name it, all the way through a company until 2012. Then I moved into health and safety fully in that role at my current company. 7 years in that role now, and I'm just changing. I've been the secretary of IOSH Manchester for 5 years, up until last year, and had some great presentations to everybody in the pandemic. We really took it to everybody, and we had a great session. And following that, I became members secretary of Lancashire Occupational Safety Group, and we are growing. I don't like saying organically. We're growing very well, and it's coming along nicely, and we're giving people back what they want to see. And so that was my aim. Also, my aim, my mission statement for them is to be 100 members for 100 years old, because they're 92 years old this year as a safety organisation. So that was always my mission: 100 for 100, and we're halfway there. Put it that way. So we're doing all right. And that's enough about me. Over to Liz, I think.
Hi everyone, Liz Hancock. I am head of Health, Safety, Environment and Facilities for Unipark Rail. I'm a chartered member of IOSH, have been since 2006. Finally plucked up the courage to send off my fellowship portfolio this week. So yeah, wish me all luck on that, guys, and obviously more than happy to feedback and potentially do a session on it if anyone's interested. I've been in health and safety industry all my working career. Started off in quite heavy industry in shipbuilding and ship repair, moved into various different roles, including enforcement, loss adjusting, underwriting, and currently very happy in my position. I am the communications committee member for IOSH Staffordshire branch. Love my events with them. I am a mental health first aid instructor, as well as a first aid instructor. And yeah, being part of the Safety 7 has been a brilliant journey for me so far, and I'm hoping to see it grow and flourish and do lots of exciting things. That's me.
Thanks, Liz. I'll pass you over to Scott, I think, next.
Hi everyone, my name's Scott Crichton. I'm a Principal Health and Safety Consultant with what previously was known as Ellis Whittam, but we're now rebranded as WorkNest. I've been in the health and safety profession for 15 years. I started out in the Royal Air Force, left the RAF to try and get into the police force, and I fell into health and safety 15 years ago. So I worked originally for a financial company that was owned half by HSBC Bank and Barclays Bank. I then moved to the ambulance service and then moved across to Ellis Whittam. I big advocate of social media, so quite a large sort of presence I try and have on LinkedIn. Today, I was undertaking the second day of a certain safety coaching course, which was very good, and I would highly recommend to everyone that's on here. I've been involved with Safety 7. I love giving back to other people, mentoring, supporting, and helping others. So yeah, if anyone wants to have a chat about anything, equally like Liz, I'm determined to become a chartered fellow, and I'll be going for the second round of that this year. So we'll wait and see what happens with that as well. But yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Thanks, Scott. That's brilliant. I just want to hand you over to Robert Dukes, who seems to be consuming the contents of a water cooler.
Sorry. Yeah, it's a water bottle. I've got plenty of lemon and limes in it, and it's meant to be healthy, whether it is or not, I don't know. It keeps me drinking water rather than drinking pop, so it's working in some respects. Yes, I'm Robert Dukes. I'm Health, Safety, Environment and Quality Manager at Northwood Tissue in Lancaster. Obviously, I like to get involved in various schemes and give it back to help others in the profession. I've been very fortunate to have the help of a number of people on this call. Pretty much the rest of the Safety 7 have also, helped me develop, and I've learned a lot from them in just the 3 that we've done, to be honest. But also Hughes on the call and Jason Anker, I've learned a lot from them, and they've helped me a lot along the way as well. So big thanks there really as well. So I'm just trying to pay that forward to people really, and try to help other people develop and gain a foothold in the profession. I think everyone within our profession likes to do the same. I've not come across someone that doesn't like to help give back. So what I would say to everyone on the call, if you're ever wanting some help, and whether it's any member of the Safety 7 or anyone else that's in the health safety profession, just reach out to them, send them an email, even a message on LinkedIn. I think there's lots about that. And I seen Scott's course earlier. I'm not going to mention the course. I don't know if he, but it's a really good course, really good person that's running it, and it's something that's on my list to do in the coming weeks ahead as well, months ahead. I think that's me really. I think back over to Stuart really.
Thanks, Robert. That's fantastic. I'm going to pass everybody over to Marissa now. And you're quite welcome to call her Maz. She's already given us permission to do that. So over to you, Maz.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm Marissa Firkins, and yes, people call me Maz. I own a health and safety consultancy called Safety Forward. I started off my career journey. I was an investigator with the National Crime Agency, and ended up a career move in health and safety for a few different reasons. And then after 22 years, took redundancy and set up my own business. We're really growing now, so this summer we will become 11 people. My real passion is getting younger, sort of new people into the industry, and I recognise just how difficult it is for people to get their foot in the door. Recruitment agencies really want to know, but I'm a huge believer in the value that younger, sort of more fresher people coming into the industry. It's what value they bring. So yeah, that's my passion, and through Safety 7 I'm able to do that. So thank you.
Thanks, Maz. Rocking a fantastic Flower CND emblem there on the front of your sweatshirt. Very nice. I'll pass you on to Neil Fisher, the Yeah, that's not a problem. I'll pass you over to Neil Fisher. He's had a very busy week. 1 or 2 posts on LinkedIn about how busy his week's been, and I don't know he's found the time to come and do this today, but over to Neil, and I'm sure he's going to tell you a little bit about that.
Evening, everyone. Thanks, Stu. My name's Neil Fisher. I'm a health, safety and environmental practitioner in the rail industry, currently working at Network Rail. I've worked in the rail industry for 15 years, in health and safety for the last 10. Big advocate for development, helping others, and I think I'm reaching that point in my career where helping others is the main aim now. I think I've got to kind of where I am, I'm comfortable and happy with at the moment. Me and Scott were talking before everyone else came on about fellowship. It is something I'm eligible for, but I just don't think I do enough at the moment to give back, enough in that respect to apply for it, but I'm sure that will come when the time's right. But like I said to Scott, I'll probably wake up tomorrow and change my mind and say I want to do it. So that's kind of where I am. The Safety 7, it's all about giving back and helping and supporting others. So that's what we're here to do. And that's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Neil. And before we move on to the question and answer session, I just want to hand over to a very special guest who's joined us today, which is Jason Anker. Jason, do you want to give us a couple of minutes just to anybody who doesn't know you? I'll be so very surprised as anybody on this call who doesn't know you or has seen you give you a wonderful presentation. So over to you for a couple of minutes, mate.
Nice, Stuart. I didn't know I was speaking. I was sat listening. Had a cup of tea in my hand. I just had to put it down quick. Yeah. Anyone that know me, you know, I've been speaking now for about 12 years about a workplace accident I had in 1993, 29 years ago. When unfortunately working unsafe on a building site, I fell 10 foot from a ladder, suffering life-changing injuries, left me in a wheelchair. Didn't speak about this for 16 years. There's only a guy called Dan Terry, who's so as you may know Dan or know of Dan, obviously he passed away a few years ago, and Dan was my mentor. Dan got me into speaking. You know, I had no idea I had a story to share. Didn't realise, you know, the importance of sharing the story. I'm going forward to where I am today. Worked around the world, worked on some amazing projects, worked with some of you people sat watching me. Yeah, and you know, it's been an amazing journey for me. But I think the giving back thing is really, really important to me as well. You know, I've helped. Well, I think I've helped mentor some fabulous speakers. You know, Matt Hazelton and Kelly was on today. We're working with Neil. And my daughter Abby now runs a Proud Safe side of the business. I think a lot of people have met Abby, and Abby's got a fantastic story of her own. So that's us really, and it is, you know, it's the first time I've been able to. I tried to go on the last session. I was working, I did a night shift, but yeah, I think you're right. It's all about giving back. You know, things have changed. I think from when when I got into safety sort of 10, 12 years ago, focus on safety. I think on well-being, it's massive, but not as a separate issue. I'm really passionate about it. It's health, safety, and well-being. We have to take a holistic approach to all three. So. Sorry for rambling, but you put me on the spot a bit there. But yeah, welcome everybody. Hello.
Totally agree. Sorry about that, Jason. I just thought it was nice to get you speaking. And what you're doing, and Paul Blanchard and James Gorey are doing for our industry are amazing. And you know, if we don't give you a virtual round of applause for what you do and have done for us over the years, I think we'd be, you know, we'd be very remiss. So thank you for that, Jason. And good luck to Abby in her career, because she'll be rocking it just as much as you with you behind her. So fantastic. Right, I suppose, Neil, do we need to get over onto the question and answer session? We've got 1 or 2 friends of mine who have joined us today. I can see Melissa here, Lee Hope's here. If I'm missing anybody, I've got a Steve who's a guest. I don't know which Steve it is. We've got Kerry as a guest. I'm sure we're going to hear from them at some point. So carry on, put your hands up if you've got a question for us. Crack on. And I'm looking for hands. And Jenny's got one, so I'm going to come over to Jenny first. Thank you, Jenny. What's your question?
I've got a question, and I've tried to find the answer, and I don't know if anyone's going to know the answer, but I'm hoping somebody can at least point me in the right direction. So as you know, my background's construction. I've moved into retail sector now. So I'm now dealing with like events and event planning and that type of stuff. So for the larger events, we have like consent to trade forms, where they have to attach up to utilities and that type of thing, and they have to fill in a form. Also, I need to add as well, we're private land, so we're not governed by the council street license and that type of thing. But we also have like smaller pop-up like pop-up stalls that do outside, like little street traders and stuff like that. Sometimes they can be there for a day, sometimes they can be there for maybe for up to a week. They don't connect to utilities, they don't have to bring their own toilets, welfare facilities or anything like that. I'm just wondering, do I still need to make them fill a consent to trade form in, because it's quite long and it seems quite overkill for effectively somebody who might be handing out free samples in the street. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know if it's a law, because I think it might be something to do with the purple guide. I'm not entirely sure. And I realise this is quite an out there question, but or if someone can point me in the direction of where to maybe start looking. I'm just a little bit lost, and I need to know the answer, because the girl's going on maternity leave in 2 weeks and she keeps pushing me and I keep putting it off, and I thought I knew where to ask that question. So there you go, over to you.
Absolutely great question to start us off, and Liz has put her hand up straight away for this one, and I'm sure she's the most qualified, because it's certainly out of my remit. So
I'm not going to say that I know the answer, but I absolutely know a lady who will. So I don't know if you noticed that I was advertising an event on my LinkedIn for IOSH, where we went to Alton Towers, and it actually coincided with our first event. Right. Lindsay will absolutely be able to tell you the answer, so I will link you in together.
Brilliant, fantastic. There you go.
She'll know your answer.
Thank you very much. Sorry, it was a bit of a random question, but thank you.
Absolutely perfect. And sometimes if we can't actually answer it, we've got to lead into somebody else who does. And Melissa was the second one to put her hand up. I'll come to Kerry in a minute. But Melissa, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My question's quite on topic, really. It's the whole fellowship of IOSH. I will be eligible soon. So it's just, what's the journey all about? Do you know what I mean? Like, realistically, what kind of stuff am I looking at? Where am I going?
Thanks, Melissa. I think we've got two people who can answer that. I'm going to push you over to Scott. I don't think he's put his hand up, but I think Scott's got an idea on this one.
Yeah. So fellowship. Have you got a mentor, first of all, Melissa?
I absolutely have, the wonderful John Nelson.
You have got, great. Okay, very good. So it's a good start. So I went for fellowship last July. I was unsuccessful for a number of reasons. The reasons that I was unsuccessful was explained to me in the way of using glasses as an analogy. So if you imagine glasses that you've got, and they represent your different contributions, shall we say. So I had glasses that were full in certain areas and were part full in other areas. So for example, things like original research, I was lacking, shall we say. Things like contributions to IOSH, I was lacking. So I was sort of sent away to sort of top up those glasses. So the journey that you go on very much is with your mentor. The West of Scotland branch have a great chartered fellowship group that runs on a monthly basis, of which I'm part of. I think Liz is part of. I'm not sure if Neil's in it or not. Where you can get further assistance from people that have been through the journey and the process. But certainly having the mentor is the first sort of point. Coming back to what Neil said earlier on, it is really much trying to define, are you ready for that journey? I think I probably went probably 12 months too early. But the process probably didn't help me, shall I say, and I'll leave it as that. I won't say any more than that. Okay. But I've worked with several mentors now, and I know where I didn't go right, and I know where I went wrong. So I'm trying to work on sort of getting those things and resubmitting the portfolio. So the portfolio goes in for assessment. It's then sort of assessed. They then check your CPD, and then they call you for interview.
Fantastic. Liz, do you want to add
Thank you.
anything to that?
Yeah, so like I say, I've been eligible since 2006, and have really only just sort of found the time to pull my portfolio together. So just, you know, referring back to what Scott said, there's, you know, lots of different elements that you can showcase about how you give it back to the profession. So, you know, your IOSH mentoring, your mentoring outside IOSH, your development of staff. I'm a parent governor, have been for a long time, obviously get involved in risk and audits. I do a lot of volunteering, deliver a lot of first aid training externally to charities. I'm the secretary to a football club. So I've been doing quite a lot, giving quite a lot back to the profession, but actually just pulling that all together and sort of pulling, you know, and I'm not very good at selling myself on paper. So I'm kind of hoping that the interview goes quite well. I am quite anxious about it because I do know a lot of people who've applied for the process and haven't been successful. So yeah, so there is a WhatsApp group, and like I say, Scott, you know, if you wanted to, you know, we can get you added to that. And if you want to have a look at my portfolio, it's not been approved yet, but I'm happy to share with you, you know, what it essentially looks like and how I pulled it together. But yeah, you know, start working. If you're not ready, but the other thought process for me is if you don't feel that you're ready, start working on your portfolio now. Because it to me, I wish I'd have started collecting all that data that I've been doing. And you know, I'm writing it and I've procrastinated and gone, oh, and I've done that as well. Oh, and I did that you know, really big speech for, you know, for free of charge for this charity. And oh no, you know, I'm actually collating, you know, like best part of, like, I don't even know how many years that is of data, and to put it into portfolio to sell yourself in a succinct and you know, professional manner. So it's been quite a challenge, and it's round robin to, you know, like 2 of my mentors, and then you know, I've had lots of people cast their eyes over it. And fundamentally, I just thought I'm going to send it.
To add to what Liz just said as well, I'm happy to share my portfolio with anyone that wants to see it. Sort of the before and after version. Just put your details in the chat to me and I'll send it over. To answer, I think it was Maz, you asked the question, do you need to be on an IOSH committee? The answer is no, you don't, but I think it helps. It helps to have represented IOSH in some manner, whether it's a talk that you've done at an event or an article that you've wrote. They say that you don't have to, but I would say it helps to be on something that you've done for IOSH where you can demonstrate you've gone above and beyond whatever that means to you or to IOSH.
Also, Scott, I got some really good feedback that just this week actually from that group, which was just an extra set of eyes to look at it. So, you know, somebody volunteered in the group, and actually they put, why don't you put your future plans? And actually I have got quite a lot of future plans. So you know, that was an extra page of, and actually I'm going to do this within IOSH, I'm going to, you know, do this within you know, other industries, other bodies. You know, as my children move to secondary school, I'll be looking to be, you know, to move to parent governor there, and those kind of things as well. So I thought that was really good feedback.
Robert, did you want to add something to that? By the way, everybody, the chat function might be going on in the background, but I don't see it. So for some reason, I don't know why it's not showing up on mine. So if one of the other Safety 7 will pick that up, that'd be great for now. But Robert, did you have something to say on that? And Melissa, could you just put your legacy hand down a minute? Thank you.
Yeah, so we, in terms of IOSH Fellowship, it's something that I want to go for. I can't go for it for 5 years, well, 4 years now. But one of the things I've started doing, and it might sound daft when I'm saying 4 years out, but I've got the criteria there, and I'm ticking boxes. I'm putting that evidence together now. So any of you that are not quite there, you know, this is what I've been planning on doing. So if I'm doing it from 4 years out, I'd only recommend other people start to build that portfolio up. And it doesn't have to be amazing. It can just be literally just create a folder on your desktop and where you're dropping stuff in. If you can, that'd be great. I can talk about that. I can build that in some way. And that's what I'd recommend doing. I think it really will help you, especially when you start to put together the presentation. I think there is a bit of a presentation you've got to do as part of the process. the other thing, you know, do you see it have to be involved in terms of the IOSH committees? You know, that's not a prerequisite, but what I'd recommend is there's various different ways to be involved with IOSH, such as, you know, peer review panels, such as I think there's the portfolio assessment I think you can get involved in. There's all the different subcommittees. There's various different industry committees as well. So, you know, don't feel that you have to be, you know, elected to any kind of committees or the Irish Council or anything like that. Just feel that actually, you know, how can you get involved? How can you do something that is actually pushing the industry forward and improving stuff? And then how do you actually demonstrate that in the fellowship interview afterwards and within your portfolio? That's what I'd be considering and recommend.
I think that's great advice. I think maybe when you're doing your development plan, you're starting to plan for fellowship, or in my case, planning for chartership. That's part of your development plan, that you're going to put those things in place to tick those boxes or fill those glasses in, as Scott said. I'm going to pass over you, if you don't mind. I'll just defer to Kerry. She was just in before you, but we'll come to you in a minute. Kerry, do you want to ask your question for the Safety 7?
Yeah, just thank you to start off with for you guys taking time to do this. It's really appreciated. I'm fairly new into my role, couple of weeks, full-time anyway, part-time health and safety assistant for a manufacturing company. Already had a health and safety inspector visit me as well, which was pretty scary last week. So one thing that we're trying to change is culture within the workforce, and just really your years of knowledge and success in the industry. What would you say are the top tips that you can give a newbie like me in trying to change things? One of the struggles I do have is that the current health and safety manager is due to retire in 2 years, and I've got a plan of succession. The problem is he's been the health and safety manager for the last 8 years, and I'm coming in to change things, really. So yeah, so any advice is greatly received. I think there's kind of two things there, so sorry.
Change management is always a difficult one, and you know, there's various books been written on that. I think all the Safety 7 have read books on change, and we've all been through that, trying to change a culture. I'm going to hand over to. I'll give you a bit of what I feel first, and that is something I've been looking at as doing a post on, and that is becoming personable. And being personable is listening. I'm just reading off my notes that I made for it because I'm going to do a post on. It's listening. We've always talked about listening. Don't listening without any intention to respond to that person or whatever they're saying. Listen intently to everything they say. And you're not just listening to the words. You're reading the body language. You're reading the face, and you're learning a little bit about them. And I think that's important. Talk through the body language. Verbally communicate with them and paraphrase what they're saying. So if they're saying something to you, paraphrase back so they know that you're understanding. Culture is a difficult one to change. It is because it's ingrained, and you've got an 8-year manager who's already put his own stamp on the place, and it depends on his style. You know, they all have different styles. We all have different styles. Remember things about people. I think that is critical. Even the smallest things, what football team they support, whether they've got son or daughter, whether they're left-handed, whether they brush their hair over to the left or the right. Sometimes it's the small things that can give you that window into influencing and persuading that person to change their way or you know, to get into that. Stay positive. I think that's a massive thing. Negativity is contagious, just the same way as positivity is contagious. You've got to be positive all the time. I know that's not easy. Show empathy, one of the critical skills, and emotional intelligence, two of the most critical skills for any health and safety manager in any role. Help others. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's critical. Don't do it all on yourself. If you're having trouble with a certain person, it might be a different approach. That's all you need. Like on my post this week, I did about the dogs, smiling at people. I don't expect that they're going to smile back every time or wave back, but at some point, my positivity will be contagious to them. And I think that's what you've got to remember. And the last one is be consistent. Be consistent every time you go. Be that same person, and they'll either get fed up of you being consistent or they'll change. And it's just the way it is. So that's that. If that's helped, by all means. I think Liz has got her hand up. Maz has got her hand up. Neil's got his hand up. So I think Neil needs his chance, and then I'll come to Maz after that. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
I think just to echo what Stuart said, culture is a
Yeah.
massive elephant. And how do you eat an elephant? You take it one bite at a time. And what is absolutely important is building relationships with people, being consistent with those relationships, but also getting help as well. I've been in my role now for 6 or 7 years, I think, and people can get bored listening to me talk. They can. So at the minute, I'm doing a lot of work with Jason, and Jason and Abby at Proud to Be Safe. We're bringing those guys in. They're doing speaking events at our safety weeks, and it gives people that fresh set of eyes and stories, and especially with the well-being and the emotional well-being that surround these talks and things like that. It is so powerful. So culture can be quite overwhelming because you want to change it, but it is impossible to change overnight. It takes a long consistent time, so don't be overawed by it, but reach out to anyone that works in health and safety, any of us. People will be more than happy to offer advice, but just further to echo what Stuart was saying, talk to people, talk to them, listen to them, understand them. I mean, I don't know how big your workforce is, but if you can remember names, I've got a few hundred that work in my department. I try my best to remember names. We have banter about football teams, that type of thing. And it is all about relationship building. And if people feel they can talk to you, you can find out what the problems are, and then you can help them. Even if it's something as simple as getting them a new pair of safety glasses that fit better, or gloves, or just something so simple, they'll remember that. And then they'll come to you. If they can come to you with the little things, they'll come to you with the big things as well.
Absolutely. That last phrase is one you could write it in stones on the side of the mountain, whatever it is. That is critical. Maz, did you want to add to that one?
Yeah, so I think we've covered the kind of softer skills it requires, but I think there are some practical things you can do, Kerry. So I think you need to understand what good culture looks like first of all. So where are you at, where does the journey end? What does good look like? What are the signs of a good culture? And then you need to have a look at where you are now. So what I do is probably start by holding a workshop, maybe with some key people in the business, invite the top person in your business along, and just understand what they think good culture is, what makes them feel valued. And good culture and health and safety is an element of culture, but it's not everything. These things like quality, pride in the workplace, retention of staff. So I definitely work with your HR people, your quality person. This is not something in isolation. I don't believe health and safety culture is something to be done in isolation. It flows through so many things, and I think that's just important to remember that. Thank you.
And the real benefit of the Safety 7 is you get difference, and it's absolutely fantastic. Maz was bang on it there. I approach you from one method, but actually, without defining what you're actually going to get in the at the end result, what's the point in being personable? So I'm the front end, Maz is the back end, but you need to have both. You've got to have both. Liz, did you want to add to that before I come to you?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to come at it a completely different angle. I'm going to build on everything actually. So once you've got what you want in terms of your culture, and I think this is really good for you, Kerry, given the fact that you're quite new in your role. If you can get in front of your exec, your board, your leadership team, because it is ultimately them who will set the agenda. You can do the best that you can, but unless you have their buy-in, you're going to be, rowing down the stream the wrong way. It's going to be a nightmare for you. So if you can get yourself in front of the exec, that's the biggest tip I could ever give you.
That's a great one. It's a good one to hear, because I'm actually due to sit with them next week, the senior management. So because I wanted to try and get the message across. So it's good to hear.
And if you can get them to commit to something like an IOSH leading safely course, or if you can get them to really get that knowledge, the course that Scott and Robert have been discussing as well, or potentially get them to buy into, and this is by no way a promotion, obviously. I think the world of Jason anyway. If you can get them to sign off on that, you're quids in. You'll change that culture pretty quickly.
Great, thank you.
In safety we talk about communication, and it's a wide area communication, but one thing we've got to do is communicate at every level, and communicating at your board is completely different than the man on the floor or the girl on the floor, and so when you're learning communication, there's so many varieties of tone of voice, of the subject matters. If you're talking in a boardroom, they don't want to be fussed about with all the little stuff. They want short, sharp answers. Whereas the guy on the floor wants a little bit of a natter with you, and he wants to know he feels listened to. But the board just want direct. They're not the same. But to get them on board is everything about culture, because if they're not singing it, nobody else is singing it. The choir's not been made. And I'm going to hand over to Hugh, if that's okay, Robert. It's sometimes on the Safety 7 we get the chance to come across some of our personal heroes, and Hugh has been very supportive of me on my LinkedIn post in the past, and absolutely fantastic person. One of my heroes, Hugh, if you want to carry on from there.
Yeah, that's a lovely thing to say, mate. Only wish I was worthy. You don't realise how much I learned from some of the people on this panel here, even the Dukester, eh? And especially the Dukester, because he keeps me young. Between him and my son, they can see where this hair went, can't you? Now, quite seriously, folks, first and foremost, I'd like to support each and every one of you. Each and every one of you, I regularly look for your posts on LinkedIn. You've got varied views, varied backgrounds, but you contribute so much, not just to the development of others, but really for grown old farts like me to rethink some of our own values and some of our own approaches, because things do change with the times. I've done a lot of mentoring over the past few years, and in particular, I've aimed it at the younger generation. I would say Rob was one of those, but he's actually moving up the tree now. But no, seriously, because obviously perception and expectations change as things move along. And I really do salute all of the Safety 7. I mean, I've been on a few posts and I wasn't being facetious, magnificent 7. Well done, all of you. You're absolutely brilliant. Big vote of thanks to each and every one of you in terms of what you're contributing in your own workplaces, but to a wider sphere. I've been a fellow of IOSH for too long, perhaps. 2008, I did it. 2007, I became a fellow of RRSM because it was an easier route, to be honest with you. And doing the RRSM first allowed me to align some of the things and get ready. And you don't have the face-to-face pressure either. But what I would say to you and advise to you, do you really think you're going to get value? Will you get out of it what you put into it? That's what you ask yourself first. It's a lot of work. And I think it's worthwhile. I've got to hold my hand up. I salute RRSM as much as I do IOSH. Respect them both, and particularly the members. And some of the people who've taught me most in IOSH and RRSM ain't the fellows, ain't the members, ain't the chartered members. It's the grad IOSHers and it's the students bringing their viewpoints in. So it's important that we, and like you guys do now, we pay it forward and take them to the next level. So first and foremost, if I can help any of you, I'm more than happy to do that. One of the big things that still disappoints me about IOSH is there's around 500 fellows. And in the past 12 months, I've helped about half a dozen, possibly more, either achieve fellowship or get towards it. And a couple of the people I'm most proud of were people like Suki Hogwood, with Jacobs. We're getting more ladies are getting involved, and we need much more support. We need much more diversity, not just the old boy brigade. We need the people with the diverse. We need your Stuart Baileys. We need your Scott Crichtons. We need your Neil Fishers. We need the Jukesters. We need all these people through, because these are the ones. Not forgetting our Maz. Eh? It's people like you make a difference. And you really make a difference, not just to the institutions are moving forwards. So I've been speaking for 3 blooming days solid, but you make a difference to people's lives and the people you interact with. We're all SMEs, and you get a lot of support. You've got people like myself you can always fall back on. You've got people like my mate, good old Jason Anker. He's one of my heroes, along with old Tim Marsh. But don't tell Marsh his head will get too big, right? But these are we're all one big team in this game. And I said, if I can help any of you, I'm more than happy to do so, and also share my network. When it comes to your route to Irish, there's some great people out there to help, not just like Sir Rob, but there's people like Martin Jones. Jones is a star. I've never met anybody like him. I was so pleased he got a Distinguished Service Award. He's had some tough times recently, losing family bereavements. But if you want to get in touch with people like him, just to give him an ease up, give him a thumbs up, there's some great people there. So please feel free to call on us. You talked about culture and culture change. It's never easy. One of the things I'm doing in the business I'm in now is trying to take them from what's a quite high level to an even better level. And I think one of the things that, looking at you, Kerry, in your position, think about using something like the HSL survey first, because what the senior management think and the middle management think and the shop floor think isn't always a consistent message. Now, I know it sometimes costs money, but you're talking about telling, people's perception. You don't have to do every single person, but take perhaps a sample of each one area. Get the militants as well, because the militants, they're using militant not because they're negative about the business, because somewhere along the line, somebody's not listened to them. And Stuart made that great point earlier about it's important that you listen to everybody. It's important that you listen, but it's also important to give them feedback. Because the people who, usually what I find, the people who are sort of angriest at work or frustrated is because they've not been listened to before, or they've never been given an answer. So if you can actually turn around and work with them, they can be your biggest safety champion. But it all comes down with a thing called, so in terms of culture change, felt leadership. And that's not leadership from the safety manager. It's not usually leadership from the top gaffer. Really, it's leadership from within your peer group. So again, that's me sharing through my thoughts, and I'm truly honoured to be with you guys and girls. If any of you ever need to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn. More than happy to help you. And a massive vote of thanks to our Maz, who's another one of my heroes. She'll tell you why, because she should be on Danger Money, but I'm not saying any more than that. All right.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
Hugh. No, for anyone who doesn't know, I took on Hugh's son about 2 months ago. He joined the business, had his NCRQ, no experience, but he's an absolute gem. We've just been away for a few days down in Somerset, and I just love the way his mind works. It's just great to see a fresh head into health and safety and just watch him grow. It's just amazing. So yeah, thanks Hugh for having a lovely son.
That was fantastic. Kerry, I mean that was straight from a fellow who's been a fellow for a very long time, and very, very wise words, reiterating what all of us think about culture. And the HSL tool, I've used it myself, and it's fantastic. It really will help you to get everything down. So have a look at that and make sure you use that. And I just want to give you was talking about feedback there, so I want to give some feedback back to my hero there. He called himself an old fart, and I'm not. I don't like the word old. I mean, you can call yourself older fart by all means, never old. But I'd rather call you worldly wise. Wouldn't that be a better way of doing it rather than calling yourself old?
Friend, call me what you like, as long as you don't call me too early these days. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm going to come back to Jenny, but Luke, I've got you coming up next, so we'll get Jenny's question and then I'll come back. Robert, I've just got you on hold at the moment, unless that's a legacy hand.
No, it's about the culture thing, but just come back to us when you want.
Thanks, Jenny.
So mine is I'm after a bit of help, really. I'm wanting to go for Irish National Council, and I've downloaded the form. That's as far as I've got at the minute. I think the deadline's the 9th of May, and I'm a bit stumped on the first question. So if anyone can offer me any help in how to fill it in, I'd be really grateful, because I want to make sure I get it in and get it right, just so I've got a better opportunity to go for it.
I'm going to pass that over to Scott. He was one of the first ones who put his hand up for that. So, Scott.
That's only to say I can't, but I can connect with people that can because they have been through that route. If you want, Jenny.
Awesome, thank you.
And just on the safety culture, I absolutely agree with what everyone said, and sum it up with speaking the language of the audience that's in front of you, whether it be the board of directors or those people that are on the ground floor. You've got to be relatable and connecting with them. So speaking their language is how I would sum that up. But yeah, Jenny, if you want to connect, I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, perfect. I'll drop you a message. Thanks, Scott.
Can you just clarify a question there quickly? Was that the IOSH Council you're on about?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually was elected on through finishing 13th last year. So some of the candidates moved on to the presidential team, and that's where the extra role came up for myself. So reach out to myself if you want any help with that. In terms of that, I can't dictate what to put, but I would tell you what I put, and I generally just recommend being authentic, being yourself, and putting a genuine answer with that as well. We need to see two things happen in IOSH. Firstly, we need to see more female representation and more demographic representation right across, really, because I think we need to see that change. Secondly, we need to see actually more female chartered fellows, because actually, if you look at the breakdown of that, it's pretty poor, to be honest. So that is something that I've been saying at council, and I will say that we need to see that improve. And the way we see that improve, well, we be public about it, and we encourage our female members to actually go for that fellowship.
Awesome. Okay, thanks very much for that, Rob and Scott. Thank you.
Fantastic, Robert. I'm going to come across to Luke. Luke, if anybody's here or wasn't here at our last meeting, Luke was the winner of the competition where we gave away a NEBOSH course, was it, Neil? And Luke was a great winner, and he actually came on and spoke to us, and I'm sure Luke's going to tell us how well he's getting on with that if he's already started it. But Luke was a great speaker at our last meeting. Luke, over to you.
Yeah, I've obviously started a course now. I'm doing quite well with it. Obviously, I'm going to do quite a bit more over the weekend, but I'm getting quite busy with courses. The business I work for has actually just nominated me and put me through a IOSH Behavioural Science Safety Leadership course. I don't know if anyone here has done the course before. I haven't got a question as such. I just wanted to echo and build on what Hill said earlier about the importance of giving accurate and fast feedback. This is my style of safety. I put a lot of time and energy into giving accurate and fast feedback. I'm currently developing a new behavioural safety campaign in the business I work for, and one of them is observation cards, which I'm sure is used in many industries and sectors. And historically, in the industry I'm in, oil and gas, sometimes the cards don't get actioned. Even if I can action the card, I always provide feedback and say it will either be actioned next week or in 2 months down the line. So I just wanted to echo the importance of what Hill said about feedback, to be honest.
Thanks, Luke. That was fantastic. And by the way, you're going to need to reinforce them shelves behind you at some point, because I'm pretty sure there's some more books going on that over the next year or two.
Yeah, definitely. There will be a lot more books going on there. Obviously, some of the Safety 7 recommendations.
You keep reading those books. Neil's had to his bookshelf is incredible. I think he's had it reinforced so many times. It's now made out of our SGAs. Georgiana,
I've got books stashed everywhere in my house.
Georgiana, do you want to add anything? I know you've not put your hand up, but it's nice to see you at the Safety 7 meeting.
Thank you. I would just like to respond to Kerry. I'm a new health and safety manager. I took my first health and safety manager position last year, and changing the culture was one of my first things that I put my attention towards. is very difficult, was very difficult for me, especially because I was foreigner, I was woman, and I was young. I came across with people that told me the health and safety manager should be just English people. And it had a huge impact on me. And I always try to prove myself. So you'll find always people that will not be there to support you, even if they are on top leadership. You just need to believe in yourself, in everything that you are, in the way that you approach people. I was very confident. I am very empathic as a person, and that helped me a lot. How my colleague said earlier, if you give them a pair of glasses, if you listen to them, if you answer to them, I'm not saying about giving them a coffee, but even maybe that one, if you see someone that is very stressed, I learn in this period that that person that looks like being the worst operative, that person has a reason why it's like that. And I'm trying to focus my attention on those kind of people, and you'll be surprised. Everyone, after they meet you and they trust you and you are consistent, this is a very important factor. They will just change their behavior and you can start building with them.
That's fantastic, Georgiana. That's so inspirational what you're doing there, and you came across absolutely clear as day. There's no problem there. No problem with your communication. Even English as a second language. Maybe is it Romanian or?
Yes, it's Romanian.
Yeah. So how would I fare in Romania trying to put health and safety in an organisation like that? It's the same scenario, and I'd have to learn it just the same way. So absolutely fantastic.
We are quite a big workforce in the construction industry, and I was just thinking to help with my Romanian skills. I'm just trying to create toolbox talks or safety presentation and just translate them to Romanian and be available for free for everyone. I consider this being like a top skill in the end.
Fantastic. We're running 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. Neil's just nodding there and I can see the time. Luke, I'll come back to you in a minute. Robert, have you got something?
Yeah, I think firstly, let's just highlight there that it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your characteristics are, so whether you're male, female, what nationality you are, what any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. All it matters is that you've got the right attitude and that you want to help change stuff. That's what matters really. That's what you need. You just need the attitude, and you need the ability to go out and put that attitude out there with the right people. In terms of culture, you have your own approach, your own brand. Don't worry about anything that's come before. I've been in organisations where previously people would go get PPE and they'd be shouted at and screamed at. So when they came and asked me for PPE, I was like, yeah, what do you need? How can we, is this the right stuff? Can we change that? And I listened to people, and suddenly, I found that people actually were happy to come to us with minor issues. And yeah, like we said before, they do escalate. The more they build that trust with the people, and that trust is what very much keeping what they say in confidence. Sometimes you can't exactly say the exact thing that this person said. So someone might be a bit frustrated at the time. They might swear. You don't say they swear and thing. You say this person's raised a concern. Or sometimes you might not even want to say who the person was that's raised a concern. Just alter your approach. Don't lose the trust aspect. Always be honest with people. Always keep that integrity, because there's two things that once you lose them, you'll never get them back. You don't matter what happens. Once you lose them, that's it. It's very hard to get that back. As long as you keep that integrity, keep that open and honest policy, you'll find that you'll get people coming and speaking to you. Again, there are times where you want to bang your head against the wall, but again, get the senior leadership on board, get the people on the shop floor on board as well. You'll have people at all levels that are everyday leaders. You'll have people that are quite verbal, quite vocal in what they want to say. So speak to them, and if they have a problem or if they are being quite awkward, see how you can actually get them on side and what can you do to change their mind? What's actually upset them? That's the two things. But the one thing that I want to mention that I don't think people say enough is that good safety is good leadership. And it's about learning them leadership skills and appreciating that a bit more. And one of the things I always say to people now is never mind looking at level 6 qualification or looking at all of these, different various specific health and safety courses, actually look at a leadership course, look at how you can develop that. And I don't just mean going out doing a management course, I mean actually going out looking at the leadership courses that are out there that'll tell you different leadership approaches. How do you speak to people? How do you develop soft skills and non-technical skills? Because that's what will get your people actually engaging you. You know, how do you present yourself to different people? How do you engage them? Because there's different people who like to be approached in different ways, who like to receive information in different ways. How do you cater for the different learning styles and actually adapt your message to all them different approaches? It's a lot easier said than done. It does take time, but you'll learn a lot more with that and get a lot more engagement with that than you will trying to sell technical knowledge to some people that actually, do they necessarily need all that technical knowledge, or do they need to actually understand what the short main points are?
Thanks,
Yeah, that's what I'd add.
Thanks, Robert. Fantastic. We've got 3 minutes left. Sorry, you. I'm going to hand over to Neil to give us to wind it up, unless that's a legacy hand. Steve, I know
his legacy. I'm sorry.
It's all right, mate. Steve, I know you put your hand up. I think we've run out of time there, but there's been some great questions, and hopefully you've had some great answers. What else?
Let him gush to. If Steve's got a question, we've got a couple of minutes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Steve.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I started my career in safety nearly 5 years ago now, and I feel I'm ready to take that next step as health and safety management. I'm finalising my diploma now. I've had a few interviews, but like you said, I struggle to sell myself. Like you said before, one of the Safety 7 said you struggle to sell yourself on paper and things. But you guys going through your career, is there any tips that you could give in just an interview, just to give you that edge, to really show the company that you are at that level?
Thanks, Steve. Great question. Great question. I'm going to hand you over to Liz for that one.
Yes, because what I lack in my ability in paper, I definitely do not lack in terms of confidence and selling myself, which sounds a bit vain, really, but it's not. You know, I think it's a massive topic to cover, you know, within the short time that we've got left. Have you got a mentor?
I haven't. No.
Get yourself one. So that'll definitely help. We rewatch our video, I think it was our second one on knockbacks and rejection, because there was some really good stuff in there. All of us sort of gave some really good tips on there. So again, like just giving the short time, look at those two, get yourself a mentor, reach out to myself. I'm sure anybody else who, you know, does public talking would be happy to talk to you as well, because it is all, you know, it is very much confidence if, you know, you've got the ability and the levels and the experience. But to me, it's very much about confidence.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Fantastic, Liz. Hand you over to Neil. I know Luke's got his hand up. Do you want to carry on, or are you getting close to the finish?
Yeah, I think if we just take Luke's, and then I think personally I need to wind up.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, it's not a question as such, but I just wanted to build and add from my own personal experience what Georgiana said earlier about having the confidence and believing in yourself, especially if you're like from a diverse background. I mean, like me, from my experience, I was born with a physical disability. I've never known any different. And like sometimes I do get that feeling when I go to sites, I meet no people, the confidence just go a bit. Well, it did it first early on in my career, but obviously now I've keep growing and growing and visit more and more sites. The confidence is getting better, and obviously I know I'm making a difference, so I hope I'm making a difference and beginning to grow. And I just want to reiterate the message: confidence and believing in yourself is absolutely crucial and critical. And if there's any knockbacks, I've had a few personal knockbacks, so traumatic experiences and that. I lost my mum last year to cancer. It knocked me massively, and other various issues I've had to go through. But you grow through what you go through, so knockbacks are part of life. We all fall down at some point or another, but we can all get back up again. And I just wanted to say that.
Sure, I'm sure there's a song in there, Luke, somewhere. I'm pretty sure of that. Can't remember it off the top of my head. But thanks for speaking. Thanks for giving that, that insight. That was brilliant. Neil, over to you.
So just to finally finish off, thank you so much for everyone coming on. I think that has absolutely flown by. I think we knew it was kind of going to go like that, but it was Luke, and you'll have to forgive me, the gentleman's name on the last meeting, the conversation after we were talking about the mental health.
It was Lee, I think, wasn't it?
Was it Lee? And just the conversation that spawned between Luke and Lee, it was quite inspiring, and we decided behind the scenes that we wanted this session just to be an open forum where people could just come on and talk and ask questions, because we felt there was more in that, and rather than us talking about a specific theme, just open the floor out to everyone else. So I hope everyone's enjoyed it. I really have. I think I've been sick of my own voice this week. I've done a lot of talking, so I've kind of took a back seat. So thank you to Stu for taking over. I quite like it though. I think we might have to pass this round to everyone. Take it in turns. Yeah, I quite like that. So thank you for everyone that's come on tonight, and I'll let you get back to the evening and stay safe.
Can I just add, Lewis and Lee, the people who didn't put their hands up to ask questions, and if you have any questions, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, send them up to the Safety 7 on LinkedIn. I'm sure we'll get back to you there one way or another, and spread the word. This is what Safety 7 is all about. Us giving back, answering questions, meeting your heroes sometimes. Thank you so much for joining us. Neil, you want to end that one?
Yep, thank you everyone, and good night and stay safe.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Thank
do you want
you.
us to stay on? Do you want us to stay on as normal, Neil?